Hi, I'm Miriam Joy and welcome to my studio. Today we're going to be doing these brightly colored Easter eggs, and these are done with crayons. So we're going to demonstrate that for you today. Aren't these wonderful and fun? Okay, what we're using today is actually egg gourds. They're a little bit more durable and you'll have them around for a lot longer than just a regular eggshell. You can use an eggshell. You would use your needle and punch the hole in the top of the bottom and then blow out the yolk and then go ahead and put your hanger on. The most important thing if you were using an egg is to make sure that you warm it after that it's not straight out of the refrigerator and it's cold, because that will react with your wax. So feel free to use those as well as egg gourds. And egg gourds, if you're not an egg artist or haven't been around, gourds, they're a lot of different growers out there that do grow the egg gourds, and you can get them from different farms as well as on the internet. You can find them. So they are out there. Know that they're available so you can purchase them. I'm going to use a little bit of smaller cording to make my hanger, and I'm just going to cut it and I'm going to tie it in a knot. And then any of its tail that's left over, we're just going to trim off. And I'm going to take my bead cap, and this is a bead cap that would go over a bead, and you want it big enough that will cover up your string. Now normally I personally just hot glue these right on, but because we're going to warm this up a bit, I would put your hot glue in the middle and then I would put your E6000 around the edges to permanently hold that on. You don't want to apply the heat directly to that, but that'll help hold that on. And this is a sad tube of E6000, but this is what it looks like, and you can find it at Walmart. You can tell I use it a lot. So that's how we put the top of our hanger onto our egg gourds. So I've already got these ready to go, and I didn't put the hot glue gun out because I didn't think we needed another thing on our table. So we're going to start with Crayola crayons, and these are just regular Crayola crayons right out of the store. When we're doing this, I usually work with a 24 box, but get a bigger box of crayons so you'll have more fun with your colors. And I hate to tell you this, but on this project, as many melting pots as you can pull out to melt your crayons, the easier and the funner time you're going to have. I'm also going to use metallic colors, because this is where we're going to get the sparkly from in our eggs, as well as some glitter crayons. I'm going to demonstrate both of those for you today. So I'm going to start with the gold metallic, and I think this one is called Metallic Sunburst. It's not quite the gold. The gold doesn't have quite the shine that this one does. It's a little bit more, in fact I will show you the difference between the two. It's not as bright and colorful, and I was actually looking at the crayon, and it does come in a metallic box but does not tell you that it is metallic. It's more of a gold color. So we're going to use that Metallic Sunburst instead today. So I'm filling up my melting pots, and I know you can't see directly into them, but we want to fill them up, but we still don't want them to be overflowing into that second layer. We want to fill that little well up so that it's full, because if you fill it up to that where it's on that second layer, it starts to drop, and that rule still applies even though we're doing it just the way we're doing it. Now I'm going to be using my bigger tool today, my number 2 tool. I'm going to use a smaller end because it doesn't drip quite as much as a larger one. You can still pick up a lot of crayon. And if you need to get into the tighter areas, then switch over to your small tool. But for most of it, we just want to get the crayon on. The same rule applies about warming up your tool. Warm up your tool in your crayon in about 15 seconds or so that it is warm and it transfers your crayon over nice and warm. And we're just spreading the crayon around today. You kind of don't want to go over what you've put on, and I'll show you what I mean. Like if I was coming to this and started to get into this, this is already cooling. You don't want to do that. You want to just go in an area you haven't done, and you're kind of just spreading it around. Those of you that have done wax design kind of ignore the other rules right now. And we're just going to kind of get some pink here and there onto our egg. This is carnation pink that I'm using. So we've kind of got some of the pink on there. I'm going to wipe it off, and I'm going to go into yellow-green. Not green-yellow. The green, ending in the green means that is the primary color. And we want to go right next to the previous color that we put on. You don't want to go over it, but you really don't want to leave space so that you don't have that color or the egg showing later. I'm going to go right up next to it and kind of fill it all in. And we are going to show you another way to do this as well. This is just one of the different techniques, and I'm going to be using turquoise. This is actually robin's egg. You also can make your own turquoise color by putting together blue, green, and white and mixing those 50-50, and those are found in your 24 box. You know what's also really, really great about this project, you can use up a lot of the broken crayons the kids have from school. Usually you buy them the bigger box of crayons in the 64 pack or the 120, so you get a lot of fun different colors that we normally wouldn't use. You also can buy the Crayola metallics and glitter in just those packs of just glitter or metallic. Sometimes it can be a little bit hard to find, so if you're having a hard time finding them, we do carry them on the website at miriamjoy.com for that reason. All of the tools that I'm using today are on my website. They're either tools that we have used exclusively for the crayon or have developed, and you can find them to purchase there to make this process easy and fun for you. Okay, so we've got that on, and I'm going to go into, this is Dandelion. For those of you that have taken classes with me, this is the yellow I use. Even if you use a paint, the yellow, the bright yellow, is so much thinner, and it's not as nice of a color to work with. So this is Dandelion, and it just really makes your colors pop, especially if you're doing spring colors. You need that yellow in there just to bring out the color in your design. So as you can see, we're just kind of filling in here and there on it. Want to make sure you get it all covered. We've got one more color, and that is our gold, and we may have to go back in here and put some other colors in here in spaces that we feel are too big. So I'm going to put a little bit of green, yellow green in here because it doesn't have as much in there. And we can do gold, 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 and that looks pretty good. So we're going to put our gold metallic now. I'm going to stir it up because it's been sitting for just a minute. And once you stir it, as long as you're working with it, that metallic should not settle back to the bottom. But see that kind of glittery look that we're already getting from that crayon. And we're just covering everything else up. Any little openings that we haven't put with another color. There's also really pretty metallic copper, but just play with all the different colors of the copper or the the metallic and the glitter. There's just all kinds of fun things that you can do with them. I guess this must be my backside where I don't look at it as much because I keep turning it over and seeing all kinds of things I've forgotten back there. Okay, so we have that completed. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put it on a hanger so that I don't have to hold it. And I'm going to use an embossing heat tool. They also call them embossing guns or just heat tools. So it's a hotter powered heat tool. Be careful, it is very, very hot. I had a circular burn on my hand last week right there from the tip of this where I hit it, so it is very, very warm. I don't use the hair dryer. It's so big and bulky and I can control this to a specific area, and that is the reason that I use this over that. So we're going to start at the bottom of it and get it started melting, and then we're going to work our way up. When you're doing this, less is better. You want to kind of get it to a melted state and let it kind of melt on its own. You don't want to over melt because then it gets dirty. All this colors start to get combined together. So we're going to try and just get this a little bit melted here. And once it starts melting, it melts a lot faster. And you can see I'm turning it as I'm going up. You don't want to have any bumps left on it. So if there's something like this guy right here that is a bump, we want to melt him smooth. We don't want to leave it as a bump. I have a little bit more up to here. Now remember, we don't want to get too near. Not only does that get hot, but we don't want to melt off our hanger. But we have to have our hanger to hold the egg with. And I hit this with my fingernail. Scraped it just a tad. Now you can see how that turned into that wonderful fun Easter egg. And look at the gold. Isn't that awesome? You get all that glitter and that shine. Now, if this one doesn't come off, we're going to knock it just a tad. I'm going to melt that bottom. It's not quite smooth down here. But with this process, you're getting all these great and wonderful and bright colors, and it really doesn't take that long. And you can be doing it with your broken or leftover crayons. You also could leave that tip if you wanted to. It's not going to hurt anything. See if we can get that. I'm going to heat it just a tad more. The trick is to heat it without, there we go, without changing anything. But isn't that really, really, really fun? And we've kind of got our colors all over. We're going to do one more real quick for you here. And see, this does look like glitter, but this is the metallic egg. And I'm going to come over here and we'll hang him up. And we'll go to our other one. Now, I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to use a little bit smaller tool here to get around the corners. And when you're doing this design, we're going to do a thing at a time. The part at the top melts the most. So we want to actually make these a little bit skinnier lines. And I like the yellow on the top because I think it really brightens it. And on this one, I want to use I really liked the purple, but that's a metallic, and I want to try a glitter. So let's do the red one. And this color is, they're not going to tell us. It is in the glitter family. You can tell because the package is purple. And we're going to fill that up, fill that well up right there. Okay, and I think I'm going to use that for my second color. Don't forget to keep your tools warm when applying them to the wax. If you're having a hard time getting that wax onto your gourd, you need to stop and warm your tool up. Now we're this little row, we're going to make just a little bit bigger than our first row. But once you start doing this, I hate to warn you, it's very addictive. You're just going to have so much fun. And just try all kinds of different variations. There's all kinds of things you can do. Take a picture of each one because I have my Easter contest going on right now. And we need a winner. Get those pictures posted. Each egg picture counts as an entry. So this next layer is the carnation again. And I am doing it a little bit longer. A little bit wider. I just have had so much fun doing these. I just been in my studio too many nights. I woke up at 3 o'clock last night, was in my studio playing with this. When you're done with them, we're going to put a high gloss varnish on them. And remember, they still are wax. And if you're going to put them outside or in the sun or anything where they're still going to get warm, then I would suggest still putting the triple thick brush on or the 3D lacquer. And I do a minimum of 3 coats when I'm doing that. Now, if you're just going to sit in the house and not be in the sun, just spray them with your high gloss varnish, and that's fine, from Crayon. See, now this guy doesn't have any varnish on him, and you can see this guy has the high gloss and how neat that is. So definitely you want to varnish him because that brings out the shine and the colors, because when the Crayola dries, it kind of goes into a dull state. So once you put that varnish or lacquer or gloss on top of it, it brings out the shine and the sparkle, like the glitter or different things like that. It brings that out even more, and you can see. Now this blue here, this robin's egg, I really need to add some more in. You can tell it's not working as fast as it did. And kind of the same rules apply when you're loading your wax, as when you're doing wax design. If you're not familiar with my process and you've never done any of my things before, there is a video to show you on my website at miriamjoy.com. It is called The Basics of the Wax Technique, and you'll see that up on the right hand side of my website. So take advantage of that. It walks you through all the basics. You too can have lots of fun with crayons. Alright, so now we're going to go to our green. And this area is going to start to get covered up pretty well by what's on top of it. So I only want to do the green and the yellow left on this egg. Now you are using a lot more crayon than you're normally used to with my process, but this is so much fun. If you do it with the kids, just help them with the embossing tool because it is so hot, but they will love it. And you can turn it different ways, you can do all kinds of fun things, but you do see why we have to have the hanger on the gourd egg for it to melt down. Otherwise it's in your hand and you can't quite control it, and it's hot, and you do need that hanger on top to work with it. And I do like having the stand. You can hold it kind of up and back. The stand is so much nicer than you having to hold it. Okay, we got one more row here. I did try different ways to put the wax on. I could not get the control nor the coverage. This is a little bit thicker than there's some other ways of trying to put it on. And sometimes, while it can be a little bit more time consuming, the end result is a lot nicer. So that is a reason that we do the way we do it. I'm just going to fill this in, so if any of the egg would show through, that you'd have some color there. I don't think much of this is going to show because everything from top is going to melt down. Okay, got our little Easter egg all covered. So we're again going to apply the heat. And don't make your hangers too long. My last batch I made my hangers too long, and I probably even would make them half of what I'm making them right now. And have your paper towel underneath, so when it drips on the paper towel. And especially with this method, because we're just going back and forth so far, make sure you're working on your tray so that your wax is dripping on the tray. So we're going to start at the bottom. Work our way up. Once that green starts running, see that green start to run right there? Then we're going to work to the green and the blue up on top. Let that start running. Once that starts running, we're going to go to the blue and the pink. Once that starts running where we want it, we're going to go up to the red. And that nice red with that glitter, that pretty, and that yellow. Just gives it that little cap off. Now we want to make these smooth. We don't want to leave them with bumps. And I think that's about as good as we're going to get it. We want to kind of get that bump off the end. And sometimes it'll get like a bubble in it. And I think that's just about perfect. And I love this red glitter one. Isn't that gorgeous? Just think of all the bright spring colors and try the combinations. Don't just do it because I said to do it. To me, this looks like a tulip with the yellow bottom and the tulip coming out the side. But this is something I'm really excited about. I hope you have as much fun playing with it as I do. Just take what I've given you and go crazy with it. Use your own imagination. There's so many variations. Don't forget to turn them in so that you can have a chance at entering our contest. And for the Crayola eggs, that would be 2 entries because you're using not only the wax but the gourd too. So get those into me so we can have you entered. If you need any of the supplies that we used today, please visit my website at miriamjoy.com. Thank you for having such a great time with me today. God bless.